hello, and welcome to the 2025 Discraft Cascade Challenge here in Shelton, Washington. We're at Shelton Springs Disc Golf Course at our 6th event of the year. I'm Madison Walker.
I'm Erika Stinchcomb. We're the two hot geese.
Aw.
On a surprise sunny day, we thought it was going to be awful. We were idiots, you know? Never underestimate the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah, it started out a little chilly, but warmed up nicely and turned out to be a great day.
A little bit windier, though, conditions. As you can see from these scorecards from our feature card yesterday, front nine definitely plays easier. There's a lot of woods and danger in the back. We are watching Rebecca Cox, who shot a 3-down, Paige Pierce, Sarah Hokom, and Missy Gannon today. Hole 1, a par 3, 285 feet. You're going to see pretty much the entire field just shoot this gap. I guess you could technically go out to the right and play for par, but that's not what we're about. We're trying to get this birdie. There's an OB line on the right that definitely comes into play if you punch it too straight. It also can come into play. It's 40 feet deep of the pin. This is a nice one to start. You're definitely thinking birdie.
Rebecca Cox.
But you also might be thinking about those trees and then bouncing back from them. Who knows?
Oh, we had a right to left wind on this hole today.
Yeah, not a bad one to push that right-handed backhand hyzer into the circle.
Next, Paige Pierce.
Rebecca and Paige having flip-flop rounds. Rebecca 95% in the fairway. Paige 70%, but making all of her putts.
That looks like a nice angle from Paige. Be in circle 2.
And she's the 2012 World Champion from Caldwell, Idaho, Sarah Hokom.
Looks like, no like huge standout stats for Sarah, but she's so good at keeping it clean in the middle of the fairway generally. And that's probably what we're going to see hopefully today if she's on.
There's also a lot of forehand holes.
That is so true. Wow, that's a much better point than my point.
Missy Gannon.
Big money Missy trailing Kristen Lott for, let's see. I said this wrong yesterday, so I wanted to fix it. She's number 2 in the all-time total money won at Major and Elite Series event at $324,514. She trails by 305. So, you know, if she gets this win, she'll surpass Kristen. So, big money on the line, in a way. We got to watch Paige 2 weeks ago at Champions Cup take down 3rd. She made some huge putts, and should be a fun watch today.
Sarah with a slightly softer putting style has a tendency not to quite make as many in these really blustery conditions, but putts really softly and has nice comeback putts. Rebecca from deep in circle 1, though, getting her first birdie of the day.
Oh, really dunking that one in there. Missy for her birdie. Easy money. Hole 1, a good example if you didn't watch yesterday. We have plenty of chances to attack some par 3s that are simple enough, but certainly not easy. All very technical, such as this one, hole 3. Hannah Wynn ahead. Looks like she had a hot birdie start. And she laces the gap perfectly. It's hard to park this one. You usually have to make some kind of putt. And a turkey for Hannah Wynn. So important to pad your score and try to get the birdies early. And remember, Rebecca has the best round of the weekend with a 3 down yesterday, so pretty cool to see Hannah already 3 down.
Hole 2 has out of bounds all the way down the right-hand side in a hazard area on the left marked by the yellow stakes. Congrats to Keokuk Mom for winning the patreon.com JomezPro giveaway from our practice round. You get a signed disc from this week's practice round. This par 5 is a friendly par 5 that everyone is chomping at the bit for birdie. We even saw an eagle yesterday from from Holland Hanley with a really long putt. Ella did also have a look. We had a left to right wind here today. If you want to be in the perfect spot, you kind of have to hang it out over OB. There is a left side that you can sneak up as well. We'll see Rebecca probably consider that from the side of the fairway where she landed.
Yeah, Mad is definitely right. If you land more on the right side, it's the open gap and the eagle play. Where Rebecca is fine for birdie, though, but might get a little scrambly. Very rare that we have such an attackable par 5. I think it's a really fun one. Missy in a nice spot. Paige looks to be lining up a slightly more aggressive line, hanging it out to the right here. And yeah, good trust.
Sarah kind of yanking this one over, flirting with that hazard area, but I believe skittering through to the deep side.
Looks like it. One of the few you're going to see throw a forehand on this hole. Oh, wow. Missy absolutely piping this one. She's going to have an eagle bid from around 50 feet, but obstructed.
Sarah really good at these forehand turning shots. Looks like she's going to try to work her way up that left side. And unfortunately gets a bad first kick, but a really nice second kick, laying her down in that left side fairway.
Rebecca going to take the more open right side here and hopefully get some... Oh, no, she's not. I take it back. Squeaky.
And it can be a tough little approach from pinched on that left side. Pretty sharp hyzer to the green. Paige, hunting eagles.
Always. It's a real problem. We have to tell her to stop.
She is going to have an obstructed putt now. But a look is a look. Here's Sarah's third.
Yeah, pretty technical little sidearm, but she's usually good for those. Really nice upshot.
Man, absolutely perfectly missing all of the guardian trees.
Rebecca being from essentially Idlewild, I always forget, she probably looks at a gap and thinks it's like 3 times bigger than I think it is. Paige, long look for eagle. Ooh, up and over and off the top. Really great run.
Her second one right dead center off the top of the basket.
Missy, less of an avid eagle hunter, but, throwing her hat in the ring this time. Oh, I wanted her to do it.
This again played as the easiest hole of the day, but I still think it's a very fun hole.
Rebecca looking really clean on the putting green. Going 2 for 2 to start.
50% of the field birdieing this one, but it's still only averaged at a third of a stroke under par. It's one where strokes can stack up if you get tangled up in that left side, or even early right can be brutal.
And I believe our first star frame of the weekend.
$50 to Edge. I think we'll see a lot more birdies today. Everyone's very happy to not have those drizzly, misty conditions.
Yeah, it's always nice to have a second crack at some of these woods lines too. Hole 3, we saw Hannah win birdie it earlier. It's a par 3, 295 feet. And you're going to see pretty much everyone take this gap that the drone is flying through, though the right side gap is technically viable. I like the hyzer flip with a fairway driver that just kind of punches straight, maybe gets a little fade at the end. There's a few different shot shapes you can choose going through here, though. A little elevated pin just to make it just a touch harder. I believe this played as one of the easier holes yesterday.
Yeah, it's
like
the
fourth or something.
It's the third most difficult hole. I mean, third easiest hole today. Rebecca gonna show us the way.
Pretty looking shot.
Yeah, if you could pick someone in the field to throw this, Rebecca is your girl. Missy following suit with a nice looking hyzer flip. Unfortunately, it trickles into the bushes on the left side. She'll have a little work left to do on this elevated pin.
This one, to me, I feel like you're just happy to hit the first gap really cleanly, and then, you know, play it as it lies. It's pretty hard to be really close on this one and have a clean looking putt. Like that's fine.
Yeah, the heat map probably has pretty equal parts red on circle's edge, right and left of the pin.
Mm-hmm.
You don't see a lot of forehands on this hole, but that's a good looking shot, trickling into circle 1 on the short side.
Nice to see everyone get through cleanly. Man, look at this moss. Paige resetting, it looks like. Maybe just some movement. And I'll let that one go pretty early. Hokom not going to convert from circle's edge. Let's see if Missy can get this one for 3 in a row. Nope. Come on, Rebecca. Nice conversion.
Yeah, it's hard to make your putt after you watch everyone on the card miss by a lot on the elevated basket, but Rebecca buckles down and gets a turkey.
And a good comebacker from Paige for a par save. Man, how about this forest? I just love it here.
Yeah, lots of really nice big old growth trees. Lots of nice moss everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
There were only 9 birdies on hole 3 today. Only 11 people managing to get to circle 1 in regulation, but 21 out of 38 getting to circle 2. So it's a birdieable hole, but still elusive.
Rebecca looking comfortable in the lead right now. Coming out firing with the turkey.
I knew Levi before Pound was a company. He wants it to be perfect. And I think he's the kind of guy that nothing's ever perfect. At this point, I don't think anyone's disputing that it's the best bag ever made. It's the most comfortable bag that I've ever worn. Most tough and well-built and long-lasting thing that I'd ever tried on.
Hole 4, the first par 4 of the day, and it is a very difficult one. The tee shot, the shape that you're required to throw makes it really difficult to bite off as much as you would like to set yourself up for the 3. It's a nice sharp right turning shot. A forehand is probably better than the backhand turnover, but they both work. Your second shot, hopefully you're lined up down that center gap that the drone flew, but if not, you're gonna have to get pretty scrambly. There's not really one great line besides that, although we watched Missy Gannon take a hyzer up the right side yesterday that worked really well. Unsure about how much luck was involved, but it looked pretty pure.
It still confuses me. I was over there today, and it's definitely smaller than the camera made it look. Rebecca throwing a nice turning shot, but catching a tree. She's going to kick to the left side. She's probably fine over there. Again, as I said yesterday, this is the first hole where you're not really thinking, oh yeah, I'm going to get a birdie look on this one. You're usually happy with par.
Missy's trying to flex something, hugging that corner tree, but she catches the one tree you gotta miss.
Paige gonna line up the backhand as well. And that looks so good. I feel like a perfect shot always looks a little overturned out of your hand off the tee. I really like the sidearm line. You don't always get quite as far, but it feels a little safer though. Hokom kind of yanks that just a little too straight. She's on the edge though.
Missy from further back than we saw her yesterday. It looks like she's still eyeing up the right side of the fairway.
And what does she know that we don't? Huh.
Surprising.
Yeah. More typical result though today.
Yeah, there's a lot of places on this course where if you're slightly out of position after your tee shot, you don't really have much of anything. You're just chucking at a bunch of trees and hoping that it gets through. Sarah gonna try a forehand roller. That tree stopped it dead in its tracks, and she's gonna have some work left to do to try to get up and down to save the par.
Yeah, she's got to be still, what, nearly 300 feet away, something like that. Looking at a turning, maybe a baby flexing shot here.
Ooh,
Big flex actually. Wow, that
Wow.
works out really well, making use of every bit of that fairway.
if that hadn't hit that tree, I think it would have had a chance.
Yeah, it looked great. I believe, without actually verifying this at all, that the blue stake is 300 feet, and then white 200, and then red 100. It's sure what it looked like as a field player.
Yeah.
And pretty good effort from there. Missy's still going to be, I'm not even sure. I think she's in circle 2. And Rebecca with plenty of distance on the drive, but not really lined up to the ideal fairway here. But man, just look at the trees or the sunshine coming through those trees. Whew.
I'd be curious to know the scramble percentage at this course compared to other wooded courses, because I feel like this is one of the most difficult courses to scramble once you're off the fairway.
Yeah.
It's just, you basically start looking at walls pretty often if you are even a foot off the fairway.
Yeah,
So Rebecca's shot was so impressive.
it really is. Yeah, I agree with you. If you're off the fairway, one stroke usually turns into 2 or 3. Wow, Paige is trying to throw it in. We saw her throw in one from almost 300 feet last week or 2 weeks ago at Champions Cup. Some really cool upshots from Paige and Rebecca here. Wow. Missy throwing 4, just looking to limit the damage and take the bogey. No problem.
Only 8 players over 50% scramble
Oh,
after 2 rounds. So,
wow.
yeah,
It's
and
tough out there.
it is real hard. Speaking of tough out there, this hole plays is the 3rd most difficult of the day.
Mm.
There were only 3 birdies. Paige getting one of them. Only 3 players were able to get to circle 1 regulation at all.
Yeah.
Only 8 to circle 2.
Crazy.
So, yeah, this is a hard par 4. Reminiscent of a lot of holes on the back 9.
I like how this one's spaced, though. You got 3 good birdie chances and then a nice hard par 4. Let's see if Rebecca can keep her perfect start going 4 through 4. Ooh.
Yep, Rebecca, one of the 3 birdies as well. The other from Emily Weatherman.
And Rebecca, now the proud owner of a Pacific Loon, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm. Yeah, wow. 2 birdies, 2 bogeys. Definitely not a typical scoring spread for this hole. We gotta see 2 of the 3 birdies today. That's pretty neat. Rebecca, on fire. Hole 5, another challenging par 3, 325 feet. There is this mandatory on the left, and it's just a gap that you have to hit. The right tree might as well be a mandatory as well. You need something to punch pretty straight, but then hyzer pretty sharply at the end. The drone is taking kind of the inside route. I kind of like the outside route to the right, but realistically, you're pretty stoked to get through the gap. We actually saw our feature card struggle pretty heavily on this card this hole yesterday with a couple of missed mandatories. It is a fairly punishing drop zone. So first things first, make the mando. Rebecca does it.
She's taking the inside route and ace running. There's an outside route as well where you can push a little bit straighter and let it hyzer at the end, hopefully getting a little bit of ground play. Rebecca, though, she's trying to just find some chains.
Yeah, she went grand rive, so pretty aggressive and stable disc on a nice little hyzer. Man. Beautiful shot.
Paige making the mando no problem, but catching one of those guardian trees, and that's pretty common. There's a ton of guardian trees if you don't commit to the early line or the late line.
Yeah, you can tell by her face she's not really particularly surprised or upset by that result.
You can see Missy trying to flip this one up, going a little deeper, looking for the ground play.
Yeah, pretty good, and a good correction from yesterday. And here's something you almost never see. Forehand.
I saw Sarah birdie this one on my card yesterday.
Oof, she makes the mando. Man, that's a crazy forehand birdie.
Yeah, it was awesome. I think she was one of only 2 birdies on this hole yesterday. Today there were 5. Let's watch Sarah try to scramble this par. Looks like she's lining up an overhead or maybe a roller?
It kind of looks like a roller. No, you called it. She's going to catch a tree and still be quite far away. Now just looking to pitch up for a bogey. Not an easy pitch up, actually. That one mature tree right in the way. Probably just going to go to the left of that. Oh, wow, okay.
She's going to hit the gap.
Oh, nice.
Buzzing the pan. Coming up nice and soft in circle 1.
Paige from, I don't know, 120 feet maybe. Just going to lay up. Have a little bit of work left on that par putt.
Unfortunately, Missy pushed a little too straight, and she's going to have this very obstructed putt. Looks like she might have found a line, though.
You'll take a par on this one every time.
Paige
Ooh.
with a little bit of a tester and a bit of an early release.
Hokom with more work than you'd like for her bogey. Good for it. Really nice putt. Finally to Rebecca's drive, but she kind of airballs that one.
Shout out to Jennifer Smiley on my card earlier today for parking this hole. Kona Montgomery also putting it in the bullseye. Really impressive shot. This is one of those holes that you're not banking on a birdie, but you are really bummed if you walk away with a bogey.
Yeah, that's true. Not the cleanest here for our lead card. Rebecca, the only one with a bogey-free round so far on the lead card.
With a pretty sizable lead right now over the rest of the field. Here's hole 6, back out into the wind. We had a right to left crosswind today. It's 345 feet, but it's uphill and plays closer to 360, I would say. You see a ton of discs landing on the short side of circle 2 or maybe trickling into circle 1. There's some OB on the left side that you can very easily find if you put a bunch of spin on it, because this hard panned green can set you up for some big flare skips. Also, that wind is going to help your disc move left if you show the underside too much and don't give yourself enough space.
Rebecca putting us out nice and wide, looking for those skips. Oh, beautiful. That's that fusion sergeant that she throws so well. Could watch it all day. We all know what Missy's throwing. It's a thrasher if you're new.
Her and Rebecca both in the hot spot that's right in that little crescent moon on the short side of circle 1 and 2.
I feel like it's a little too chilly for these short sleeves Paige is doing. Although that sunlight did feel nice.
She's definitely committing on a day when I was wearing 4 layers.
Committed to that shot, too. I like how it was still... Oh, I'm glad to see this. I like how it was still spinning in the wood chips when it landed.
See it bounce off a tree?
Yeah, you don't usually see those trees come into play. Even if it, it dropped, it was still a really great shot with perfect speed. Ooh, that's a lot of turn.
Yeah, she's trying to flex this one, and that wind really takes control. Fortunately, it's going to stay out of bounds.
Man, usually the forehand would be a good play to stay away from it, but yeah, that wind really taking charge. Kind of a rough stretch here. Hokom gonna take 3 bogeys in a row. Boy, do they just like to stack up out here.
And that's the thing about a wooded course, too, is you can pretty much bogey any hole out here real quick. The open ones, you ideally do want to try to stay more centered. We have to play these types of holes all the time, but the wind today was an extra element for sure. You can see the gust.
Rebecca really low on that birdie bid, but kind of laughing it off.
There were only 5 birdies on this hole today. Wow. Only 6 players getting to circle 1 in regulation, 21 out of 38 getting to circle 2. in regulation. This tournament's a little different from our normal Pro Tour events. We have a whole slew of regional players. I would say about half the field almost
Yeah, it's true.
is our regional players. So pretty cool that there was enough room to have a bunch of new players out and competing for their first time on the tour.
Hole 7 is another par 4, 560 feet. There's OB on the left. Yeah, you can see that line there that is now flagged, and you really have to be careful about this mandatory. If you're going big, aggressive, flexing backhand, and you overturn it, you can really miss that mandatory in a hurry. If you get inside the woods line, though, it's really worth it. It makes it for a fairly short, if not simple, approach shot. I personally like the forehand off the tee to try to get more of a placement shot, making a bigger second shot, but not really bringing the mandatory as into play. Paige trying to go roller here, and she tried this yesterday, I believe, but missed, and she misses again today.
Yeah, kind of a wild idea. I like the play, but in this wind, it's pretty hard to keep your disc on the angle you want for a roller. Rebecca, a master of Anheuser angles, and
Whoa.
even the wind taking her disc. This is making me feel better
It's
about my shot today.
Left to right at this point.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, that was just sailing him over to the right.
Sailing them. Even if you threw it soft, it really was directing the disc.
And it's really hard to just throw directly at that OB line. Yeah, and this is way more carry than any of us have dealt with in practice. Let's see if Sarah can correct off those wind reads. It's a smooth looking shot. She's asking for it to sit though. And yeah, it's great.
Strange thing about this hole is that Mando tree, the line doesn't go at 90 degrees to the fairway. It comes back towards you. So Sarah's only about 15 feet short of the farthest point of the Mando tree. Very interesting Mando decision.
Sarah gonna get around that first tree really nicely, but push a little too straight. She drops to a decent spot for par. Here's Paige from the drop zone after missing the mandatory. Really pretty shot. Yeah, that's a great par save. Assuming she's good for that putt.
It's a tricky little approach. A backhand turnover shot is good. I think a forehand is the best case scenario, but it still takes a little bit of distance. Rebecca gonna miss more right of those big guardian trees, whereas Paige chose the left. They both work fine, but it does leave you a little work on the green.
Yeah, those trees that they're both dodging are right on circle's edge, so if you catch one, it can leave you with a pretty big putt.
And a big straddle putt.
Yeah.
Missy again trying to work that forehand into the game. She threw a lot of great ones yesterday. This one just a little bit turned.
Missy dealing with some stuff here. Gonna have to go forehand again. But she's relatively close and puts a nice little amount of turn on that one. That's pretty. Hokom with perhaps a soft run, but regardless, that's going to be a par. Now we're looking at some par saves. Rebecca focusing here.
Kind of surprised this one played in the top 5 holes of difficulty. I feel like this one is usually well birdied, but that wind must have surprised a lot of players today. There were only 2 birdies. Jennifer Rice and Owen Scoggins both got it. Owen likely throwing a forehand, if I had to guess.
Yeah, that is surprising for sure. That
wind
one of
was
the more difficult.
The wind was rough.
Yeah. And Rebecca with some good focus there, keeping her score bogey free, and some really great par saves from that drop zone. Missy gonna have to settle for the bogey.
Let's check in real quick on the chase card. Hannah Wynn cooling off just a little bit, throwing directly into a headwind here. And that's a smart play. Let that disc hyzer out. You do not want it to flip on this tee shot. There's a big hazard area. She's going to work a forehand. right over the hazard.
Wow, this is a pretty big pump from where she was. She didn't quite make it to that white stake, but that's well done. Hannah from, say, 35 feet or so. Wow, really good work.
This is the strawberry and cherry stand right across the street. Players sneaking over there during the round, buying some local fruits. Hole 8 is a par 3. That is just your typical dead straight tunnel shot. There is a forehand over here to the left. It's a little scrappy. There's this backhand turning shot. If you accidentally turn your disc, you can find some gaps over there, and there's room to work once you get through that halfway point. I like just a backhand hyzer flip straight up the gut. You can't go low though, because there is a guardian log laying right around the edge of circle 1.
Paige got a fierce in hand, it looks like. I believe we saw her get the birdie yesterday with a check-in. She gets through clean. She's going to be just outside the circle, putting at this elevated pin.
Yeah, we saw a quarter of the field birdie this yesterday.
Wow.
There were 9 birdies, yeah.
That's great.
Today it played a lot more difficult.
Rebecca, a little on the right side of that central gap. She's going to kick, I think, just outside circle 2.
Today we saw a quarter of the field bogeying. It averaged about a quarter stroke over par.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wild swing.
Mm-hmm. That's classic Woods stats.
Sure is. Hokom going to catch a left side tree. Kick pretty far right, it looks like. Let's see if Missy can lace this one. We know she's got the dead straight shot. She's sticking with that big Z cicada that she used yesterday. That's a nice shot.
Yeah, it doesn't quite turn it as much as yesterday, but you are so happy with any look down here in circle 2. Sarah with a fairly straightforward little approach shot. Leaves a little bit on it, more than you would want on an elevated basket.
Mm-hmm. Rebecca, with kind of a tricky little line here. I like that style of throw, kind of just like throwing a frisbee at the beach. A lot of arm, a lot of spin. That was great. Missy with a really long look here.
A lot of wind on the green, filtering through the trees.
Yeah, it's always weird to have so much wind in the woods. Not something we experience that often.
I didn't realize Paige was just a little bit closer than Missy on the opposite side of the green. She's going to come up just a couple inches short on the cage. There was only 1 birdie on this hole today.
Huh.
Isn't that wild? We watched it on our card. Jennifer Smiley.
Nice, Jen.
She was a little bit deep, about 15 feet deep of the basket, and converted that putt.
Wow, that's crazy. Only 1.
And yeah, 6 people made it to circle 1 in regulation, but it's tough on these elevated baskets, especially with that wind.
Ah, man. Rebecca with kind of that nose down putt. Her miss does tend to be low. It was a pretty short one. And yeah, just not what you want for your first bogey of the round. Or any bogey of the round, I guess. Still 3 down though, so hopefully she shakes that one off. She's playing well. Hannah Wynn now tied with Rebecca Cox for the hot round of the day. Both 3 down, though Hannah through 10 now. And wrapping up the front 9, hole 9's a par 4, 505 feet. We just saw Hannah Wynn play it, and as Madison says, it was a very strong headwind. You want to throw a backhand or a forehand up past that white stake if you can make it. Ending up straight or to the left, kind of pushing that OB, will open up this second shot. If you're a little short or a little right, it really brings that little kidney bean shaped hazard into play. With the headwind, it was really tough because you don't want to flip something over and go really deep into the woods, but man, that left side OB line comes up fast too.
Yeah, you
Oof,
also
look at that.
you also want to cover a lot of ground here because the second shot can be so difficult from where somewhere where Paige is short in the fairway, but the wind was really just slowing discs down so much. Drivers would look like they would just stop in thin air.
Yeah, Paige's really dropped so fast. Sarah's not a bad shot for sure, but without that wind, I mean, that's probably 100 feet farther. Like, it is just dropping them. Missy lining up the backhand here. Good commitment. Yeah, it's well done. She'll be just a little bit pinched, but past that white stake is great.
Rebecca, one of the few players to go up that right side.
I think it was a really good play on a day like today with that wind. It's a scary little gap though, but like I said, she's got the eye for those growing up at Idlewild. Man, Paige way back here.
Yeah, this is decision time. She's likely just going to lay something up, rely on her approaches. Uh-oh.
That's not what you want. It's fine. Just not quite what you want. Gonna be a tough third shot to secure the par.
Sarah, another decision. Does she want to go over the hazard area or is she going to swing one out left? Looks like she's going to, a big flexing shot.
Yeah, I like this play. There is OB, I guess I did not mention over here, past the basket, but there's definitely more room on this side. That hazard comes up quick. That was nicely done. Rebecca maybe eyeing up the over the hazard shot to the right.
Wow.
Ah, risky.
Trickling
Pays
a
off, though.
lot of branches, and she's going to find herself in circle 2, right on the edge of circle 1.
Yeah, great commitment. Missy also looks to be lining up that right side. Wow.
Yeah, getting a little sneaky through there, and it pays off nicely just outside the bullseye.
Some really nice shots through there. That is not a big gap they're going through. Oh, hey, Paige. She's going. Ah, Paige catching a guardian tree, dropping outside circle 2. Super long look for par. It's got to be 80 feet. Paige a little frustrated after that one.
Sarah giving it a soft bed. She doesn't go too aggressive, though. Par is good on this hole. There were 7 birdies today on hole 9.
Ooh, there's one. And a nice bounce back for Rebecca after missing that short putt on the last hole. Let's give her a Jomez. Love that. Oh, and the Jomez hair. Love that even more.
Mm-hmm. Paige with some work left for the bogey save. She's good for it. High in the chains, but it sticks.
Sarah doing her full routine, making sure she gets this par.
And Missy just outside of a tap-in for her birdie, taking the risk, and it is going to pay off.
Yeah, a nice couple of birdies from Missy and Rebecca. And Rebecca looking calm, cool, collected out there. 4 down through 9. Really nice birdie to finish. Hannah Wynn doing some work. 3 down through 10. And really, not that many ladies actually under par through the front 9. Kind of surprising. kind of based off what we saw yesterday. There were more ladies under par through 9.
Yeah, this course can swing wildly any day. A classic wooded course, especially the back 9, things are going to get way more interesting. We saw a lot of players struggle through those very difficult par 4s and one extremely difficult par 5. But yeah, so we do have 9 more holes here on moving day today. So come hang with us.
And don't forget, like we did yesterday, we're almost to 500,000 followers on the Jomez YouTube channel. So please subscribe and help us hit that milestone. We love you. I'm Erika Stinchcomb.
I'm Madison Walker. We're the Two Hot Geese.
Honk.
Watch your body and I feel that sunshine.